Hi, my name is Nanan Saura, and I'm going to talk about Arizona's language development approach. Who are the English learners in Arizona? An English learner in Arizona is a student who can speak language other than English at home and whose English proficiency is not sufficient to succeed in a mainstream classroom. So there are four instructional models. It's called ESL, Bilingual, Sheltered English Instruction, and Structured English Immersion, or SEI. ESL focuses on directly teaching English language skills. The method is for the teacher to out or push in programs where EL students receive specialized instruction in English, often in separate classes. Bilingual education, when the teacher teaches academic content in the student's native language and English as well. Students receive instruction in their native language while gradually increasing English instruction. So they use dual language to develop proficiency in both native language and English language. Sheltered English instruction is where the student teaches the students academic content in English in a way that is understandable to EL students. The teacher will use simplified language, visual aids, modified instruction, and to make the content accessible. The last one is the structured English immersion. It is focusedly on rapidly developing English language skills while teaching academic content. Again, this is a very intensive program for the students because they will just use English in teaching and minimal use of their native language. Alright, so Arizona's language development approach for EL students is committed to providing research-based instruction and high-quality teaching to support ELL students. It is important to recognize and value ELL students and cultural assets. Combining the language development with content instructions ensures that ELL students will learn English while engaging in grade-level academic work. Students' agency refers to students' capacity to act independently and make their own choices in the learning process, and it involves students taking an active role in their education by setting goals, making decisions about learning, and reflecting on their process or progress. Students have a control over their learning activities and decisions. Students can express their opinion, preferences, and ideas. So there are four principles of Arizona's language development approach. The first one is the asset-based behavior and expectation. This principle emphasizes recognizing and valuing the linguistic and cultural assets that the English learners bring to the classroom. The second principle is in integrated instruction in this disciplinary language and content, which involve integrating language development with content instruction across the subjects. This includes a content-based instruction where the language objectives are embedded with the subject area lessons and employs scaffolding techniques to support understanding. The third principle is the targeted and explicit language instruction. This principle focuses on providing direct and explicit instruction in English language skills tailored to the specific needs of the students. The teacher will use the data from the language proficiency assessment to identify the language needs of the ELs, and they will give intervention to them. The fourth and last principle is assessment, monitoring, and feedback. This principle highlights the importance on ongoing assessment and feedback to monitor the EL students' progress and instruction. Teachers use variety of formative and summative assessment to track students' language development and academic progress. We also have approved research base for SEI models like the newcomer pull-out 2-hour 50-50 dual language immersion. So the newcomer program will recently arrived immigrant students who have a little or no proficiency. They will put the students in here in this newcomer program. The pull-out program is where the EL requires additional English language support while remaining in the mainstream classroom for the day. The 2-hour program for EL who needs intensive English language instruction, but who can also participate in academic classes. The 50-50 dual language immersion is where both native English speakers and EL students promote bilingualism and biliteracy. Instruction is evenly split between English and a partner language, for example, Spanish. With each language use 50% instructional time. The goal is to develop high levels of proficiency in both languages, promote academic achievement, and foster cross-cultural understanding. So the process of determining ESL program eligibility, placement, and reassessment in Arizona is very systematic and data-driven. It begins with a home language survey to identify potential ELLs, followed by a ZELA to assess English proficiency. So they were going to see the result if the students is available and placed in the ELL programs. The teacher will continuously monitoring an annual reassessment to ensure students receive the necessary support until they achieve proficiency and can successfully transition out of ELL services. Of course, parent communication and involvement are also involved in this process. So there are many standard accommodations available to our ELL students for assessment. We have presentation accommodation is to allow additional time to complete assessment to compensate for language processing time. The response accommodation permits also uses bilingual dictionaries or glossaries that do not provide definitions but assist with translations. There is also a setting accommodation administered in smaller, less distracting environment to reduce anxiety and improve concentration. There are also accommodation for time and schedule. They will allow breaks during the testing to reduce fatigue or stress. There's also linguistic accommodation where to provide written or oral translation of test direction to ensure understanding. The implementation and monitoring ensure that educators are trained to provide the monitor and accommodation effectively. And that's it. Thank you so much.